Stop visualizing your goals. Seriously, stop right now. You're literally programming your brain for failure. Harvard research shows that 92% of people are creating new neurological barriers every time they visualize incorrectly. In the next minutes, you'll discover why your visualization isn't working and the exact method to fix it. A system that has transformed the lives of over 20,000 ordinary Americans. It's like being stuck in Groundhog Day, that frustrating feeling of repeating the same cycle of hope followed by crushing disappointment, never getting anywhere. Imagine continuing this pattern for another 5 or 10 years. How would that make you feel? Let me ask you, how many times have you visualized something that never materialized? That empty feeling in your stomach when nothing changes, we're about to eliminate it forever. Your brain is like a Tesla's GPS. It needs both the destination and detailed navigation instructions. Without both, you're just daydreaming while parked in your garage. There exists a third element connecting visualization and action that nobody is talking about. It's the critical missing piece keeping millions of Americans trapped in cycles of frustration. Dr. Joe Dispenza and Brendon Burchard have independently discovered the same key principles that bridge the gap between imagination and concrete results. Dr. David Hawkins, with his groundbreaking work on consciousness levels, provides the final piece of this transformation puzzle. Are you ready to discover what actually works? Or would you rather continue the cycle of visualization disappointment for another year? Have you ever wondered why some people visualize and achieve everything while you visualize and nothing happens? The shocking truth is that visualization without the right system doesn't just fail. It actively reinforces your current reality. Here's the first principle that changes everything. Visualization without a system is merely fantasy. And fantasy is the enemy of actual achievement. Your morning probably looks like this. You visualize your goal, feel good for a few minutes, then your day starts and nothing changes. Here's the dramatic difference with the continuous integration method. You visualize for 3 minutes, activate a specific trigger that automatically launches your first strategic action, and before lunch, you've already made concrete progress toward your goal. Stop now and think. When was the last time you visualized something important to you? What specific action did you take within 24 hours afterward? If you can't remember, I've just identified the exact problem we're solving today. When you visualize incorrectly, your brain releases dopamine, the same pleasure chemical you get from scrolling Instagram or eating a Krispy Kreme donut. This creates what neuroscientists call the mental satisfaction trap. You feel rewarded without having accomplished anything concrete. It's like ordering food on DoorDash and feeling satisfied before it arrives, then never actually eating. Your brain literally can't tell the difference. This valley of disappointment is where most Americans get stuck, constantly visualizing but never crossing the bridge to systematic action. Each day you continue practicing visualization without this implementation system is another day lost toward your goal. Try this right now. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and imagine biting into a sour lemon. Did your mouth water? This demonstrates the power of complete sensory visualization over your physical system. Your body responded to something that wasn't physically present. This gateway to neuroplasticity is what we're going to harness strategically. Dr. Dispenza discovered 3 specific mental states essential for neural reprogramming: relaxed awareness, emotional elevation, and coherent intention. When these 3 states align, which almost never happens with conventional visualization, your brain becomes extraordinarily receptive to new programming. Consider what happens in your brain when watching a Super Bowl commercial. For just $7 million per 30 seconds, companies can literally reprogram your buying behavior because they understand something crucial about your neural circuitry, something that Dr. Hawkins identified as the attractor fields of consciousness that shape our reality far more powerfully than positive thinking. Here's the shocking truth that most mindset gurus never mention. Every time you visualize without a structured system, you're actually strengthening the neural pathways of your current reality, not your desired one. You're literally cementing your current circumstances deeper with each visualization session. The difference between unsuccessful visualization and effective mental programming is like the difference between watching a documentary about Mount Everest and actually climbing it. One is passive observation. The other requires full engagement and changes you forever. In the next chapter, you'll discover the 4-step method that Dr. Dispenza used to achieve what doctors considered impossible, and how this exact method is transforming ordinary Americans from every walk of life. The results appear almost miraculous, but they're simply the product of understanding how your brain actually works. What if everything you've learned about visualization is actually keeping you stuck? Stop now and consider this. The visualization technique taught by most manifestation experts is actually hurting your chances of success. Effective visualization is like driving a manual Mustang versus an automatic Honda Civic. It requires complete engagement, not autopilot. What most Americans miss is that passive visualization actually reinforces your current reality rather than creating a new one. I visualized for years with nothing to show for it, shared Michael from Denver. After implementing this structured method for just 17 days, I received 2 job offers after being unemployed for 14 months. What changed wasn't his desire or even his mental images. It was the system connecting those images to physical reality. The difference between passive visualization and complete sensory immersion is the difference between watching The Matrix and being in it, taking the red pill versus the blue pill. When you merely see images in your mind, you're an observer. When you fully immerse with all senses, you become a participant in your new reality. This distinction activates completely different neural pathways. Dr. Dispenza's research reveals something shocking. There's a specific moment in the visualization process when everything changes, when your brain shifts from imagining to experiencing. This transition activates what neuroscientists call whole brain synchronization, where your neural firing patterns align with your desired outcome instead of your past experiences. This is the same technique Olympic athletes use to mentally train when they can't physically practice. Research at the U.S. Olympic Training Center showed that athletes who combined physical training with structured visualization improved 45% more than those using physical training alone. They don't just see themselves winning. They feel the weight of the medal, hear the national anthem, experience the emotions of victory. You might wonder, how do I know if I'm doing this correctly? Most people miss what Dr. Hawkins identified as the critical attractor field threshold, the energetic tipping point where visualization actually begins changing your physical reality rather than just entertaining your mind. Try this now. Close your eyes and for 20 seconds imagine not just seeing your goal accomplished but feeling the physical emotions in your body. The difference you felt is the difference between conventional visualization and neural reprogramming. Did you notice how some visualizations feel real, while others feel forced? The difference is in the consciousness level from which you're operating. Imagine scrolling through Netflix versus actually being in your favorite show. That's the difference between visualization as entertainment versus visualization as transformation. One passes the time, the other changes your life. What's the difference between seeing and feeling? One is observation, the other is experience. When you fully experience your visualization, you activate the same neural networks that would fire if the event were actually happening. This is the difference between imagining swimming and getting wet. Jessica from Atlanta tried visualization for 3 years with minimal results. I was ready to give up on all personal development, she shared. Then I learned about coherent visualization from Dr. Dispenza and implemented Burchard's habit systems. Within 6 weeks, I launched the business I'd been dreaming about for years. Without this critical distinction, you could spend years visualizing without results, like driving with the parking brake on. Your brain responds to the emotional intensity of your mental images, not just their clarity. Burchard's research with high performers found this to be the key differentiator between those who visualize successfully and those who don't. But even perfect visualization without the next element is still just an internal movie playing in your mind. In our next chapter, you'll discover the bridge that transforms visualization into physical reality, the element most manifestation experts completely ignore. Stop right now and do something counterintuitive. Think about the last time you knew you should do something important but didn't do it. That gap between knowing and doing isn't about information. It's about integration. Here's our second principle, and it's completely missing from most personal development programs. Discipline without direction is just hard work. And hard work without a system is just exhaustion. Strategic discipline is like Waze versus a paper map of Manhattan. Both can theoretically get you to your destination, but one is infinitely more efficient. The difference is in the system, not the effort. I was putting in 70-hour weeks trying to grow my business, explains Robert from Texas. After implementing this integration method, I achieved more in 40 hours than I previously did in 70. The difference wasn't working harder. It was connecting my visualization with systematic action. This is what separates the 8% who achieve their visualized goals from the 92% who fail. The successful minority isn't more talented or even more disciplined. They've simply learned to bridge the gap between mental imagery and physical implementation. When visualization and action are parts of the same system, discipline becomes automatic. Your redundant brain circuits are like Netflix's recommendation algorithm. The more you watch certain content, the more it suggests the same programming. Burchard discovered that high performers don't separate visualization from execution. They create systems where one naturally flows into the other. Navy SEALs don't rely on motivation. They develop mental systems that function under extreme pressure, eliminating the need to decide in each moment. They call this default training, making the right action automatic through systematic conditioning. As former SEAL Commander Jocko Willink explains, discipline equals freedom. There's a precise moment where visualization transforms into action. Dr. Dispenza calls it the coherence point, where mental patterns become strong enough to override existing neural pathways. This is when new behaviors emerge naturally without force. Most people quit right before this happens, misinterpreting the discomfort of neural rewiring as evidence of failure. Dr. Hawkins mapped this process in his consciousness scale. When your mental state rises above the critical threshold of 200, the level of courage, visualization naturally transforms into action. Below that level, you remain trapped in wishful thinking. Burchard's 5 triggers work like this. 1. Environmental trigger, a physical cue that prompts action. 2. Emotional response, activating the feeling state associated with your goal. 3. Specific action, one clear, defined behavior. 4. Immediate reward, a small win that reinforces the pattern. 5. Integrative reflection, connecting the action back to your visualization. These create what Stanford researchers call implementation intentions, automatic if-then plans that bridge thinking and doing. I was skeptical about all of this, admits Sarah from Chicago, a single mother of 2. But I was desperate. After using this method for just 4 weeks, I received 3 job offers after being unemployed for 2 years. The difference wasn't just positive thinking, it was having a system that connected my thoughts to actions. You might be thinking, this sounds complicated. In the next chapter, you'll discover how to simplify this entire process into a 9-minute daily routine. The key is finding what Burchard calls the minimum effective dose, the smallest action that creates the maximum impact. Which action, if performed consistently for a year, would completely transform your life? This is the only question that matters. The most successful people don't have superior willpower, they have superior systems. The difference between who you are today and who you'll be in 12 months isn't what you know, it's what you do systematically. Knowledge without action is like having a high-performance Corvette with no gas, impressive but immobile. Dr. Dispenza's research shows that neural pathways require consistent reinforcement to become permanent highways in your brain's architecture. In our next chapter, you'll discover the critical third principle that changes everything, the element that even the most expensive personal development programs don't fully reveal, the key that makes the entire system work automatically. What I'm about to reveal contradicts 90% of what personal development experts teach. This is the point where most people give up, and it's exactly where real transformation begins. Here's the third and most powerful principle: continuous integration, the feedback loop between visualization and action. This is what Dr. Hawkins referred to as the calibration of consciousness, the ongoing dialogue between your internal state and external results. Visualization and action aren't 2 separate activities, they're parts of the same process, like inhaling and exhaling. What if they were like peanut butter and jelly, good separately but transformative when combined? Most approaches treat visualization and action as separate practices. Visualize in the morning, take action during the day with no structured connection between them. The continuous integration method creates a 72-hour cycle that keeps visualization and action perfectly aligned through constant feedback. This completely changed my approach, explains David from Seattle. I went from visualizing occasionally and acting sporadically to a system where each reinforces the other. In 90 days, I accomplished what I hadn't been able to do in 3 years. The magic happens in what we call return moments, scheduled 2-minute periods throughout your day to reconnect your actions with your visualizations. These brief check-ins create what neuroscientists call state-dependent learning, where your brain associates specific actions with specific mental states. Stop now and try this. After your next visualization session, schedule 3 2-minute return moments throughout your day. During these moments, briefly reconnect with your visualization and adjust your next actions. Just this simple technique can double your visualization's effectiveness. Dr. Dispenza's 72-hour cycle is like a software update for your brain, the exact period needed for new neural connections to begin stabilizing. During this window, consistent reinforcement of visualization action pairs creates permanent neural pathways. This is why most visualization practices fail. They don't account for this critical neurological window. Walt Disney, one of America's greatest visionaries, intuitively understood this principle. He created a 3-phase system: the dreamer, visualization; the realist, planning; and the critic, feedback. Disney would literally move to different rooms to integrate these phases, creating a physical manifestation of the integration cycle. The trigger anchoring technique creates neurological connections between specific mental states and physical actions. By consistently pairing visualization with immediate action, you train your nervous system to move automatically from thought to behavior. This creates what Dr. Dispenza calls coherent brain states, where thinking and doing become a single neural event. The strategic documentation technique records the relationship between your visualized states and actual results, creating a personal database of what works specifically for you. A Stanford University study found this documentation process increased goal achievement by 300%. I was the king of starting things and never finishing them, admits Jason from Chicago. This method changed everything because it's not about motivation, it's about integration. Now my visualization automatically triggers action, and my actions reinforce my visualization. Dr. Hawkins discovered that this continuous feedback loop actually raises your baseline consciousness level over time. As your consciousness rises, visualization becomes more powerful and implementation becomes more effortless. This creates an upward spiral of achievement that becomes increasingly automatic. Here's the crucial insight most people miss. The power isn't in how intensely you visualize or how hard you work. It's in how seamlessly you connect the two. When visualization flows naturally into action, and action reinforces visualization, you create what Burchard calls success momentum, results that compound over time. The 3 principles work together as an integrated system. Structured visualization creates the neural template, strategic discipline provides the implementation pathway, and continuous integration creates the feedback loop that refines both. Without any one element, the system fails. In the words of Dr. Dispenza, you can't think greater than you feel. This method ensures your feelings, thoughts, and actions are perfectly aligned, creating a level of congruence that makes achievement almost inevitable. Now that you know the 3 principles, let's implement this system in your life immediately. We've uncovered 3 fundamental principles that transform fleeting mental images into concrete daily habits. 1. Visualization without a system is merely fantasy. 2. Discipline without direction is just hard work. 3. Continuous integration creates the feedback loop between visualization and action. At this exact moment, you're standing at a crossroads. Continue as you have been or implement this method in the next 24 hours and begin seeing results in as little as 21 days. Let's implement this right now with a 60-second exercise. Close your eyes and visualize your most important goal as already accomplished. Feel the emotions, see the details. Now, without breaking your mental state, ask, what one action could I take in the next 24 hours that would begin to materialize this vision? Open your eyes and write that action down immediately. You've just experienced the first cycle of the continuous integration method. By repeating this process systematically, you create an unbroken chain between your mental and physical worlds. Be realistic about your timeline. Expect subtle perception changes in your first 21 days. By day 72, you'll see physical evidence of transformation. Around day 90, others will begin noticing changes in you. This isn't instant manifestation, it's systematic achievement. As Dr. Hawkins discovered, transformation occurs when we raise our consciousness above the critical threshold where visualization naturally converts to action. This method does exactly that systematically and predictably. Which of these 3 principles resonated most deeply with you? The power of structured visualization, strategic discipline, or continuous integration? Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear which element you'll implement first. Remember, in the words of Dr. Joe Dispenza, the world is yourself pushed out. With this integration method, you don't just visualize a new future, you systematically build it one day at a time. The invisible gap between your dreams and your reality has finally been bridged. Hey, incredible growth seekers. Wow, what a journey. If this video resonated, subscribe now for more life-changing content. Join our community of self-improvers. Smash that like button to fuel more content on mindfulness, goal setting, and emotional intelligence. Share this video to create a ripple of positive change. Comment below about your growth journey. Your insights shape our content. Next week, boosting self-confidence and overcoming limiting beliefs. Don't miss it. Every interaction brings us closer to a world of empowered individuals. Let's make personal development global. Stay inspired, keep growing. Your best self awaits. Let's unlock it together.